Love leaves us vulnerable, powerless and foolish. Love brings us face to face with our own inadequacy, the littleness and the desolation that nothing except the beloved's heart can fill. This is the paradox that flows from the heart of the Creator, powerful beyond time or contemplation, yet choosing to become vulnerable, powerless, and foolish in the eyes of this world. The values of the kingdom of God are exactly opposite to those of the world of manipulation, power politics, social climbing, and vain display. We all know this, yet generation after generation we continue our power games, using titles of honor and displays of prestige. We are very much with James and John, seeking the best places of the feast to come. We are disconcerted by the apparent trick that Jesus is playing on them. Rather than drinking from the joyful winner's cup, the cup that they will share with Jesus is one of rejection, contempt, and suffering. When we attempt to manipulate God, things do fall apart. This is evident in the confusion and divisions that we are experiencing in our church today. The gospel vision of the kingdom of God, based on a shared discipleship of equality, has been interwoven with the symbols of Roman hierarchical patriarchy. This narrative is now starting to unravel, and no amount of scapegoat's blood seems able to glue this body back again. Outdated, institutionalized paradigms of power are being ripped apart by the true meaning of the message of Jesus' death on a cross. We must find our voice to confront the powers that seek to manipulate God, or we ourselves become part of this manipulation that is the equivalent of an act of disbelief in God. The current movement within the church will require a new view so as to discern the gospel message from a different vantage point, from the viewpoint of the useless, the suspect, the abused, the powerless, the oppressed, the despised, and in short from the viewpoint of all who suffer. When we interact with another human being, that person has a set of assumptions and beliefs that influence the interaction. This includes belief about the individual thinks about other people, what they are like, and how to win dominance over others. How clearly we recognize this in the disciples. But can we recognize this in ourselves? Most of us throughout life hear various comments from others about our behavioral patterns. But being human, we have the tendency to ignore or to rationalize away these complaints in order to go on with our preferred style of life, seeking power to compete, power to dominate. Even now, when knowledge of self-defeating scripts and habits is becoming a greater part of human awareness, we find it very difficult to view our own personal behavior in any objective manner. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, start by using the type of manipulation we are all well used to. Will you do us a favor? And the other apostles are no better. What's in it for us? But Jesus does not play these games. Jesus warns us that these power games are not to be used among his disciples. This is not to happen among you. Now anyone who wants to become great among you must be your servant, and anyone who wants to be first among you must be slave of all. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Any pious assertion of serving God's people while we have been feeding on the young lambs and hiding behind the structures of canon law must be as so much menstrual rags in the face of God. Our spiritual journey requires that rather than pointing fingers elsewhere, we must come face to face with that side of our personality that is fearful, insecure, and seeks validation through domination in some way. Without this stripping of the false self, without this dark night of the soul, we cannot enter into proper relationship of love with another person, nor can we know and be in any relationship with God. The way we handle our relationships with each other will be mirrored in our relationship with the living God, who cannot be manipulated, controlled, or dominated by any of the games we play. Unless we are in right relationship with at least one other person on this earth, unless there is some place we can give and receive love without manipulation or any power games, I don't think we have anything reasonable to say about our living the gospel. Neither do I think we have anything to say to this world. This is our new beginning. Let us begin by recognizing the assumptions and the beliefs that affect our relationship and may also need God's purification. May the Lord grant you peace.